Hey, what's up? You were taught to chase, to prove your worth, to be the nice guy who deserves a chance. And even after doing everything right, she still ignores you. Why? Because what makes a woman fall in love isn't how much you talk, but how well you stay silent. It's not the effort you put in, it's the power you radiate without trying. In this video, you'll discover 6 phrases that aren't pickup lines or mind games, they're codes. Phrases that awaken something most women won't admit, but all of them feel. A deep desire for a man who doesn't rely on their approval to feel like a man. You'll stop chasing and start attracting, but only if you have the courage to let go of everything you were taught. Let's begin with a phrase that flips the entire script of attraction and makes any woman see you in a way she never expected. 1. You don't have to like me, but you will remember my presence. She might meet dozens of guys in a week, handsome, funny, well-spoken. But what makes one stick in her mind isn't looks or smooth talk. It's masculine presence. That kind of presence that walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere. The kind of man who owns space, even in silence. And that power doesn't come from noise. It comes from his core. Men who make that kind of impression don't need to force it. They just are. And that only happens when there's true inner strength. Nothing fake. Nothing performative. When he walks, his rhythm speaks confidence. When he talks, his body language fills in what words can't. It's a mix of steady eye contact, calm breathing, and grounded posture. Now think about it. When you say you don't have to like me, there's freedom in that. It breaks expectations. It's not rejection, it's emotional detachment with class. Women don't hear that often. Most guys are just trying to please, convince, or be chosen. But when you say this, you flip the game and leave a little emotional itch in her mind. This kind of phrase triggers psychological attraction because it expresses emotional authority without effort. And it's not arrogance, it's clarity. A man who knows he doesn't need to be accepted by everyone is a man who carries real confidence. He's not speaking to be adored, he's speaking to be understood. And if he's not, that's fine. That alone puts him ahead of 99% of men. In practice, use this phrase in strategic moments. Like when she teases you, tests your limits, or acts dismissively. Instead of reacting emotionally, drop it in a neutral tone, with a calm and firm impactful look. It's like saying, I'm not here to justify myself. I'm here to be who I am. That's self-mastery, no yelling required. And that memory doesn't fade. Even days later, she's still thinking, what was that? And that's when the real game begins. Because once a man masters this kind of phrase, he learns how to use space and silence as invisible weapons. And that sets the stage for something even more powerful. 2. You're beautiful, but your beauty doesn't impress me. She's heard the first half of this phrase 1,000 times. You're beautiful. Pause. The guy smiles, hoping for approval, maybe a kiss, maybe attention. But when you follow it up with, but your beauty doesn't impress me, something shifts. She drops her guard. Not because she's offended, but because she's confronted with a new standard. One that breaks the comfort zone of easy praise. When said with authentic charisma, this phrase flips a switch inside her. Regular compliments feed the ego. This one activates the brain. She thinks, wait, he's not impressed? And that question sparks involuntary curiosity. That's psychological attraction at work, drawing her in without flattery, creating pull without submission. Here's the catch. This phrase only works when it's backed by viral posture. She needs to feel that you're not just faking indifference. It has to come from within, a place of experience, of knowing that beauty alone doesn't create real connection. That requires deep-rooted perceived value. A man who knows what he wants and won't lose himself for a pretty face. It's also a golden moment to practice impulse control. The instinct is to get excited around someone attractive. But when you pause that urge and deliver something clean, firm, and direct, you project emotional authority. And you create tension. A subtle sexual tension that doesn't need to be obvious. It's born in the space between what she expected and what you actually are. Try it like this. She posts something on Instagram, and instead of hyping her up, you send, "You look great, but I expected that from you. I'm more curious about what's behind that." It's subtle but powerful. Now she wants to prove she's more than just looks. And guess who she's aiming to impress? And when she sees you as someone who demands more than surface-level beauty, you step into a role few men ever touch, the selective man. And selective men, my friend, are rare. And that emotional scarcity creates space for a deeper, more cutting kind of connection. 3. I'm not easy to impress, but I'm easy to feel. Say this at the right moment, and the whole mood shifts. It disrupts the usual narrative, the guy who's completely shut off or the one who's wide open and needy. Here, you're right in the middle, accessible but selective. You show you've got depth, but not everyone gets access. That's Stoic wisdom in action, emotion balanced by reason. When a man says he's not easily impressed, he already breaks the mold. These days, too many guys get wide-eyed over a glance. But when you finish with, "I'm easy to feel," you soften the edge with warmth. That's high-level assertive communication. You're present, whole, but not available to every shallow connection that crosses your path. This phrase trips a woman's emotional radar. She doesn't just hear it, she feels it. And that's the birthplace of psychological attraction. When you touch something she didn't see coming. You're saying you have standards, but if there's a real bond, you feel it too. And in today's cold, guarded world, feeling has become an act of masculine courage. That's inner strength, not weakness. Say it in those late-night talks, those emotional moments where she tries to test you or decode you. Drop it with a calm smile and an impactful gaze, and suddenly the tension becomes interest. She realizes there's more to you. More than games. More than scripted lines. You're a man with an unshakable mind, who feels without drowning. This is where one of your greatest weapons comes in, silent influence. That emotional mystery. You don't overshare, but you don't disappear either. You leave clues. You're present, but not exposed. That delicate balance is what keeps her invested. Wanting to know more. Wanting to feel more. Wanting to understand the man who feels both clear and deep. And when she finds herself emotionally involved without even realizing it, your power already flipped the dynamic. Because the man who can be felt without flaunting is the same man who knows how to use words as keys. And some of those keys open doors in her mind before she even notices. For, if I have to work hard to win you over, then you don't deserve me. This one might sound harsh to some, but to the man who understands his worth, it's freedom. When he says this, he's not being arrogant, he's being honest. He's making it clear he won't negotiate his core to please anyone. That's self-mastery in its purest form. He doesn't play the game of female validation. He plays the game of self-respect and wins at it. Do women expect effort? Of course. But effort should feel natural, light, not some desperate attempt to be accepted. When you say this phrase, you communicate that effort should go both ways. That raises your perceived value. It shows you're not driven by external approval. That's emotional detachment in the healthiest and most attractive form. You become dangerous in the best way possible. Dangerous to the dynamic where men chase and women choose. Here you flip the structure. If it's meant to happen, it will feel easy. And if it becomes a performance, you walk away. This line takes emotional authority, because only a grounded man can hold his presence through rejection and remain at peace. Use this line when she's clearly playing games. If she says, "Let's see if you can win me over," you calmly say, "If I have to work hard to win you over, maybe you're not for me." Say it with a smile. No resentment. That's masculine presence and impulse control in motion. She'll feel that she's dealing with someone who doesn't bend under pressure. And when that hits, everything shifts. She starts seeing you differently. Curiosity turns to admiration. Admiration turns into desire. That's deep psychological attraction, when a woman realizes you're rare. Not because you're pretending to be, but because you are. You're no longer available for shallow games. And as that shift happens inside you, you'll find yourself talking less, but leaving stronger impressions. And that's when you realize sometimes the most powerful phrase sounds like a calm challenge. 5. You're interesting, but I'm still deciding if you're worth my time. This phrase flips the emotional script. It interrupts the usual rhythm she's used to hearing. Most guys are busy trying to convince her she's special. Not here. Here, you make her stop and think, am I actually giving enough to keep his interest? That's masculine psychology in motion. You're no longer the product, you're the selector. And the tone isn't arrogant, it's mature selectiveness. You're not insulting her, you're simply making it clear your time has value. That your energy won't be wasted on surface-level talk. This takes confidence. The kind that comes from self-mastery, from experience, from the quiet strength of a man who knows presence is a privilege, not a duty. This phrase also carries a spark of subtle sexual tension. Because when she realizes she doesn't fully have you, even though she has your attention, she wants more. It's like you're close, but not too available. And desire always grows in that space. Because challenge feeds attraction. And challenge is born when she senses you're rare. Use it on a date, during a video call, or even over text. If she teases you with, "So you like me?" drop this with a soft grin. "You're interesting, but I'm still figuring out if you're worth my time." With viral posture, calm delivery, and strong eye contact, this hits differently. And that's where body language works its magic. If said from insecurity, it sounds arrogant. But when spoken with stillness, with a relaxed voice and grounded energy, it becomes a riddle. A spark. Something she needs to solve. That's what we call words that dominate. Lines that plant silent questions in her mind and let her water them. And once those seeds bloom, her behavior changes. She starts trying to prove her worth, to show her depth, to be more than just interesting. And when that happens, you realize she's now emotionally invested. And that, my friend, is the perfect time to drop the final strike. 6. I'm not trying to be unforgettable. I'm just being honest with myself. This line sums up what most men spend years trying to grasp. You don't need to try to make an impact to leave a mark. When a man lives aligned with his truth, speaks calmly, and acts with integrity, he becomes memorable by default. That's Stoic wisdom applied in real life, the quiet echo of simplicity backed by depth. When you say this, you drop every mask. You're not here to manipulate, not here to fit or mold. You're just being you. But this you comes with inner strength. This you has learned the power of emotional detachment and understands that the best way to attract is not needing to. It's letting her feel the pull of authenticity. This phrase carries the calmness of a man who's not for sale. And that's rare. Most guys are still trying to appear nice, funny, romantic. But when she hears, "I'm not trying to be unforgettable," she gets it. This guy isn't playing. And that stirs respect, interest, a desire to be near. Because you've become that kind of man who carries an unshakable mind. Use this when she tries to label you, figure you out, or put you on a pedestal. If she says, "You're different, you're hard to read," respond with, "I'm not trying to be unforgettable. I'm just being honest with myself." Say it with assertive communication, a steady tone, and complete naturalness. That phrase shifts the whole atmosphere. It also activates a sense of presence. You're showing her you're exactly where you want to be. Not needy. Not forcing. That kind of energy has a name, masculine presence. A presence you don't explain, you feel it. A presence that doesn't beg for attention, but effortlessly draws it. That's authentic charisma, the rawest, most effective form of emotional magnetism. And by making it clear you're not out to impress, you become the one she never forgets. Because the man who's enough for himself is the man she wants to understand. And the more she tries to understand, the more she feels. And the more she feels, the more she wonders, why does this man affect me so deeply? Now you see, it's not just about what you say, but who you become while saying it. A man who owns these phrases isn't memorizing lines. He's training his mind, sharpening his presence, and awakening something few ever touch, the power to be felt without needing to explain himself. So now tell me, are you still going to shrink yourself to please? Or will you own your authority? Are you still going to chase approval? Or live in a way that leaves a mark without trying? Drop a comment and tell me, which phrase are you going to try first? Write this below so I know you stayed until the end. I don't chase. I walk with purpose. If this video sparked something inside you, hit that like button, share it with a brother who needs this, and subscribe so you don't miss the next drops on masculinity, attraction, and real-life male psychology. And don't forget to tap the bell, because the next video might change the way you see yourself, and the way she sees you too.